Where are we going with this?
I've no fucking clue. Hello and welcome to House of Bards. We are a podcast about, tabletop role-playing and stuff like that, but we also kind of sometimes work as a general writing advice podcast, but it is normally framed within the idea of cooperative storytelling. Isn't that right, Alex?
Yeah, that was an excellent intro. Bit long, maybe,
No, a bit long.
But certainly relevant, I think,
Yeah,
to what it is that we're going to talk about this episode. This is a topic that Beth suggested.
It is a topic I suggested. Because, okay, so, spoilers, if you haven't seen the latest episode of The 100 or were kind of thinking about watching The 100, which you've probably only done so based off of shit you've seen on Tumblr, because if you watch the first season of 100, it's shit. But it's... but basically, so The 100 was kind of unique for, I guess, the majority of shit that's on TV.
Is it the 100 or the 100?
Sorry, it's the 100. Sorry, it's not the 100. It's the 100. You're correct, Alex.
I was just wondering. I know basically nothing about this show,
No.
aside from the fact that it has very recently become controversial for a reason that we are going to talk about because it is relevant to this topic that Beth wanted to bring up.
And for those of you who don't know what The 100 is about, it's generally a post-apocalyptic show with a bit of, actual futuristic stuff in there. The protagonist, Clark, for example, she's from, a space colony. She gets sent down to Earth. She has to, survive. And then, I think at the end of the first season, they find out that there are people living on Earth. So I guess it's a little bit like Lost, but set on the entire planet Earth. Isn't it really, then? It's like, oh no, there are other people on the planet.
Speaking as somebody who never watched Lost either, I'm very tentatively going to say that yes, those sound like similar concepts.
I didn't really watch The 100 past the first few episodes because I was like, this is kind of naff. And I'm really sorry if that upsets you because you liked the first season of The 100 and continued to watch it beyond that point. But I was like, yeah, it's cool that you have a girl protagonist and stuff, but honestly, this is not a good show. And that was what I thought, and that was my opinion. Later on, of course, you find out halfway through the second season that the main character is bisexual and is going to have a romance with a lesbian, and that's pretty cool actually for a network show, because that doesn't often happen on American network shows. It straight up doesn't. You just don't have protagonists of things who are part of the LGBT community in network shows. That's a Netflix original kind of thing.
Praise be Netflix original.
Yes. Apart from their recent, romantic comedy thing, that was awful. That got rated 2 stars.
I don't remember which one that is. Netflix have, since they got told to stop allowing proxies, they've kicked into high gear in terms of producing original content, basically to, I think, justify their services cost to people in regions with shitty catalogs. So true, I can never really keep track of what the latest thing that Netflix put out is.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're going on a bit of a tangent. Netflix's catalogue is about to get even shittier in the UK because BBC iPlayer is going pay to watch.
What?
Yeah, you're going to have to pay to watch BBC iPlayer now because they don't charge license fee for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, so, I'm never
British
going to get
round
to watching the most recent series of Doctor Who. Oh dear.
Never mind. But no, basically Netflix are going to stop putting BBC stuff on because presumably BBC want you to pay for BBC iPlayer and put only their things on, unless they don't, in which case that's really cool of you, BBC. But then you're going to have to make iPlayer free because it's not going to work otherwise.
I mean, I kind of feel like the current business model, they could get away with it because a lot of the stuff that's on Netflix currently is reasonably old. So if there's a time-sensitive, window in which you want to watch things, you still have to use iPlayer.
I mean, if they want people to buy it, they're going to have to remove the time window. That's just a fact.
That's true.
They're going to have to bring back stuff from like ages ago as well, because they're going to, what would be the point otherwise? No one's going to pay for it, because if they want to be a Netflix competitor, they need to indulge those who want to binge watch things.
That's true. That's very true.
Anyway.
Anyway, that's not relevant because apparently the 100 isn't on Netflix. It isn't at all, the CW, right?
CW.
I don't know all of the American networks, but I'm pretty sure the CW is a network.
Yeah, for British people who don't know, CW also run a lot of the DC comic shows. So they do Arrow,
true, right.
Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, they do all that shit. And I mean shit in a nice way, apart from to Arrow, which is actual pure garbage, but everything else...
My brother really likes Arrow. I know basically nothing about that show. Except that it has Ra's al Ghul in it, so I hate it on principle.
I think he died, though.
Probably. I don't fucking care. He was in it, and therefore it is forever tainted.
Yeah. People always complain when Ra's al Ghul gets whitewashed, and I'm like...
I complain when Ra's al Ghul is in things, mentioned, exists.
I know you hate him.
I hate him so much.
But, like, people always complain when Ra's al Ghul gets whitewashed, but I'm always like, you do realise he was, like, a racist caricature, though. Like, maybe it's for the best. I know that's not the strongest argument, but, like...
I mean, it's kind of like when in Iron Man 3 it turned out that, like, the Mandarin was a fake out, and it's, like, a load of people got really salty about that, and it's like, did you really think they were actually going to do the actual Mandarin, who was 100% a Fu Manchu level racist caricature?
I know, right? Like, it's...
Did you actually think that in the fucking 21st century they were going to do that?
Yeah. The only time I've ever seen the Mandarin, like, done well, him be Asian and him not a racist fucking stereotype, is Iron Man Armored Adventures, where they just made him a teen genius like Tony Stark was in that series, and they were just sort of like best friends and like really got on, which made his inevitable betrayal so much more sad. But yes, anyway... So, but this is actually kind of relevant to what we're going to be talking about in a minute, but like...
Yeah, it kind of is. We should sort of, like, start with the kind of tone that we mean to go on with.
Yeah. So, anyway, in the 100, in the latest episode, spoilers if you were ever considering watching this, or if you haven't watched the latest episode, after the OTP was made official, after Clark and Lexa finally did the do, Lexa got shot by a stray bullet. In 2016, and you're like, that sounds a lot like how Tara died on Buffy. You're completely fucking correct, except that happened in, like, what, 2001, 2002?
It's the 90s.
No, it was, like, 2001.
No, I've seen, like, this, like, laid out. I am fairly certain that particular event was in the 90s. Like, the late 90s, really late 90s, but still.
Okay, fair enough. But, like, yeah, that sounds a lot like Tara dying on Buffy. And it was bullshit then, and it's still, and it's like, it happened again. And, obviously, the 100 has received a lot of, flack for this. Rightly so, because, like, queer ladies are fucking sick of this. Like, this has been, like, I was, like, I was considering of maybe returning to the 100, suffering through the first season, until Lexa showed up, but I'm not going to watch it now. That's just a fact.
Small aside,
it's not going to happen.
I'm talking out of my arse. The episode Seeing Red of Buffy the Vampire Slayer aired in May 7th, 2002. So you were right.
I was right. Anyway.
But the show started in...
yeah.
The 90s.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Like, I think the first episode was like 1997.
Being the late 90s. So, like, whatever. Yeah. Still, the fact remains that this happened very, very recently in 2016.
Yeah.
Fucking 2016, God.
Yeah, it's fucking, and, like, there is a long list of, lesbians dying in fiction. And this isn't what that podcast is going to be about. What it is actually about, and what spurred this on, is the writer, Jason Rothenberg. And this is the quote that he said, in regards to, if he was ready to the impending viewer backlash over Lexa's death. So, quote, "I don't even want to talk about the trope that's out there about LGBT characters. That's not something that factored into the decision to kill Lexa. So,
Mate,
like,
uh, bro, buddy, pal. You don't. That's not how that works. People don't like think about negative trend tropes like that when they indulge in them. Like those tropes are endemic to the way that we think about the characters that they happen to. That's why they happen in the first place. Like nobody sits around twirling their moustache going, yes, now I will kill the lesbians and that will show them. Except like probably...
Except I think maybe they do sometimes, but that's...
Well, no, I was going to say, like, except the people who, like, wrote the original fiction that... well, actually not even them, because the whole reason that, like, that fiction was written was because it was actually, like, legally mandated that you couldn't positively portray homosexuality, so stories that presented it positively had to end badly.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, the lawmakers who made that happen were kind of like that, but otherwise it's like... That's a cultural thing, but nobody actually thinks about that when they like make a work that like harps on one of those tropes. That's not how that works. So it's not really an excuse to say that you weren't like factoring that into the decision about whether or not to kill this character. That's not how that... But I am given to understand that there is a bigger issue at work here. Does the quote continue?
That particular bit of the quote doesn't continue, but here's the thing. It like you're right, it's like no one really thinks about that trope when they do it, but that quote means that he is aware of that trope. And if you were aware of that trope, you should know why not to do that.
And now I don't particularly want to defend this guy because he's shown himself in like recent interviews in the fallout
been
for this.
Apologetic, yes. It was like we were arrogant and we're sorry.
Yeah.
We thought we were better than that.
But I think that the quote makes it quite clear only that he is aware of that trope now, and that he may not have been aware of that trope at the time. And in fact, he implies that he either wasn't or wasn't actually like considering it at the time. So I don't know. I'd say that in terms of like actual motivation for what happened, you could see a case for him being willfully ignorant and negligent, rather than actively malevolent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's malevolent, you know, but whereas negligent, yeah, I think he's been negligent. He's been aware of this trope, he's went, I'm better than that, and my dead lesbians won't fall into that trope. And it's more arrogance on a lot of writers' part when they think, oh, if I do this extremely racist trope, it won't actually be extremely racist trope, because my writing is better than everyone else's. And here's a horrible fact for all my fellow writers out there. Your writing is not better than anyone else's. Like, fact. There's, like, I'm not saying your writing's bad, and I'm not saying your writing's good. I'm just saying you're not better than everyone else, if that makes sense.
What's important to keep in mind is, regardless of the quality of your writing, whether it be good or bad, you are not superior to the medium as a whole.
Yeah.
And the landscape of the medium as has been created by forces of people larger than you could ever be.
Yeah.
Like you can't say this trope won't happen, or when it does happen won't assume the same meaning in my writing because it's my writing. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
There cannot like actually be a writer sufficiently powerful for that to happen. Like, it's not that necessarily that says anything about your writing, it just says anything, like, about you being a singular person as a writer.
Yes. It's not, you know, you are, you know, and what this boils down to, and you're like, how does this even fucking factor into tabletop role-playing games, Beth? Where are you fucking going with this?
I know where she's going with this, but that's only because she explained it to me before.
A lot of us, and this includes myself, we all play or create characters who are different from us. Even on a, you know, just on something as basic as a personality, or even as, you know, you're a bloke and you're sick of playing blokes all the time, you want to play a girl, or you're playing someone who's a different type of humanoid to you, even as basic as that kind of thing. Like, nobody who plays an elf is actually an elf.
Yeah.
However...
But there's, like, different things at play here, because elves don't exist.
Yeah.
And, like, some of the qualities that elves assume in the fictions we create do exist and do apply to real people. Like, for instance, short people exist, or
Yes.
if you have like particularly tall, gaunt people as your elves, like those people also exist. And like cultures that are particularly connected to like nature and like the ecosystem around them do and did exist.
Mm-hmm.
So like that stuff exists, but elves themselves do not exist.
No, yeah.
So it's kind of like you sort of have to like piece together the elves out of stuff. So that's kind of where some of this comes in.
But, you know, sometimes you play a character who is, let's say, a different actual, like, real-world minority than you. You know, you are a white person and you decide that your character is going to be black. Or you are, you know, a straight person and you decide that you are going to play a gay person. You know, something like that.
Which is not in and of itself, like, wrong at all. Like,
No,
that's part of the whole
really,
reason that we do role-playing is to, like, create characters who are different from ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, and that's, it's you know, good, and it's good to do that. And, like, DMs are going to create people and cultures that have a vastly different outlook to their people and cultures. That's just what happens when you create something and you write something. Like, you know, and if you're a person listening to this and you have only ever played people like yourself and you never intend to play anything different, then maybe this episode isn't relevant to you.
Well, there are some people who, like, very deliberately do that because they feel most comfortable, like, using the character as an extension of themselves. But I think those people are pretty self-aware about that.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying if you only play white people, you're a racist. That's terrible. No, that's just what you're comfortable with.
I think, like, generally those kinds of people will usually play somebody who is very like themselves, like, in pretty much all respects, because they're very aware of the fact that they do that because that's what they're comfortable with. So I don't think those people would particularly begrudge you that because they know that they do that.
Yeah, and there's not, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But let's say maybe you're wanting to diversify the pool of characters that you generally play. And you're a bit like, I'm kind of sick of playing people who are basically me but an elf, or basically me but a dwarf. Because let's face it, there are people who resonate with particular fantasy races, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're
Do you know
right.
what I mean?
You're right, yeah.
You know, you meet people and you're like, you know, like, oh, like, what's your favourite fantasy race? And like, oh, it's dwarves. And you're like, of course it is. I could tell as soon as you walked in the fucking room that you were a dwarf person, you know.
Wow,
and that's
Beth.
fine. What?
No, that's just like inadvertently weird.
Yeah, no, like, I have a soft spot for, you know, half elves and half orcs and stuff like that. I don't know why. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I do, you know, and that's just a thing. I know why I like bards. That's easy, but, like, you know, I couldn't tell you why I particularly resonate with, you know, half elves or orcs or half orcs or whatever. I couldn't tell you why.
For a very long time, I liked playing, like, particularly wayfish conflict-averse wizards.
Yeah.
Just because that was the kind of person that I felt I was most equipped to play at that time. That seemed to be like the closest to who I actually was. And I've branched out a lot since. Although, whenever I make fighters, they always die.
Yeah.
Now I play a lot of clerics because, like, I think my personality shifted into this kind of, at times, hyper-empathetic person who just wants to help everybody. So I like playing clerics now. Which is weird because I'm not like actually a religious person in real life, but you know, I like playing healers in like all games.
Alex is the mom friend. What can he say?
I am the mum friend. I don't know how I feel about being the mum friend, but like it's undeniable.
No, yeah.
Well, actually, I think I'm kind of more like the dad friend in that I'm sometimes not very good at it.
Yeah.
But like trying to be empathetic, but sometimes fucking it up a bit.
Yeah, I think I'm the jerky, like, older sister friend. But I think that's fucking obvious. Like, you know, sometimes the stars align and people like me get to be older sisters, and honestly, it's a role I'm very well suited to. Just ask my brother, who will roll his eyes and go, God, she's annoying. But yeah, it's it's just It's what I'm suited to. I'm, you know.
But
that's
where are we actually going with this, Beth?
I've no fucking idea. I've completely lost my train of thought.
Let me try and pick it up from what you told me. Role-playing is a form of collaborative free-form writing, and as such, it is beholden to some of the rules. I wouldn't even say rules, but like some of the environmental conditions that affect the wider sphere of writing.
Yeah.
Which means that when you're role-playing, you're not necessarily immune to, like, being affected by the kind of tropes that would turn up in writing. And I think maybe there's a bit more leeway in role-playing, where if you do something, like, weirdly incongruous off the cuff, then you could put it down to, like, bad improv.
Yeah.
Rather than, like, this has been a conscious decision for a while in a heavily edited piece of work.
Yes.
But even so, you'd still have, you'd still be accountable, I think, in much the same way that the people who, like, put these tropes into published works would be accountable in some way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you told me, right? That's where we're going with this.
Yeah. You know, and it's a bit more difficult for the DM because we are supposed to plan these things in advance and think them through.
I actually think that, like, for the DM, it can, for that reason, like, be more difficult in some ways, but be easier in others. Because if the DM does plan that stuff in advance, there's, I guess, a contingency kind of thing. Like, the sort of contingency that would have things like a swear loop put into national television.
Yes.
Just the kind of thing of, like, I can self-moderate a little because I am planning in advance, whereas my players are constantly reacting to what's going on. So it's like players, I think, need to have a little more leeway for this stuff.
Yeah.
Just for that reason that they are always improvising.
Yeah.
Like, they might have an idea of where the character wants to go, but that's going to be overarching, and it might change, like, you know, depending on you know what's going on and how feasible their original idea is based on the environment they're in.
You know, and so it's, you know, one of these things, and I will admit, as a DM, I've definitely stepped into, like, a trope trap. You know, I am not a big fan of, like, the whole women as, the objectification of women, and I made a female character a literal object. And I went, yeah, that's unfortunate. Like, but
I feel like with Kaluna, there are, like, ways where you played very heavily into that trope that were kind of gross, and also ways that it was largely subverted, because, I mean...
Yes.
Sorry, this is kind of... I'm very interested in, like, the philosophical idea of personhood.
Yeah.
And I've... Just today, in fact, I was playing the Talos principle, which it seems like it's going to be going into that idea quite heavily. I wasn't able to play very much of it because the game crashed after a bit. Yeah. But I think that in the sense that Kaluna, in the form that she has been confined into, becomes essentially kind of like a crystal ball, if you like, an object that can be referenced at any given time for information, that is probably the bad side of it. I'd say the good side is the fact that that's not necessarily her primary role, and that rather she still retains a lot of her own personhood just within the sphere itself. And it's like when he first found her, I'm pretty sure that when he first found her, Azrael was like, do you want me to just, like, smash the orb and release you? I don't know what will happen, but, like, do you are you consenting to this? Because I can fix that up. And she was like, no, I want to help, like, bring my husband to justice or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say that she has agency, because I feel like maybe that's true in a very limited sense. But she has objectives, and she can exert influence as a means to attempt to achieve them. So I suppose she has some sort of agency. Yeah,
like, she's a literal object, but she isn't an object, if that makes sense.
Well, it's like she is a literal object, and she is sometimes treated as an object, But, like, the role that she occupies within the narrative, as of yet, I don't think falls into, like, her being
No.
an object.
No, and I think as well the kind of, I guess the point of Kaluna's story is sort of, this is, it's sometimes women are treated like they don't, because basically Kaluna's whole story is men exerted influence over her and now she's in this shitty situation. That's her story. It's like these two men treated her like she was an object to be fought over and won.
And now she is literally an object because,
she's literally an object.
like, as the fallout consequence of that conflict.
Yeah.
Which I guess is also bad, because, I mean, obviously she shouldn't bear the brunt of the consequence for that. But, like, one of the of those two men is, like, the arch villain of the current scope of the narrative, and the other didn't seem to suffer any consequences whatsoever. But we managed to freak him out with the orb, so...
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
Jeez, though.
But it's one of these things, like, but it is one of these things where you're like, yeah, she's, like, I've done this thing where I've given a female character not a lot of agency, and I don't particularly like doing that. I mean, obviously, like, one thing with the power that a DM has is basically, like, if you have kind of a gross trope on one character from a certain group of people, you can always just make other people of that group and have no gross trope there.
Yeah, it's like quite a lot of the particularly gross tropes come from the fact that this thing always happens to this kind of character, and the reason why it's so easy for it always to happen to that particular kind of character is because any given narrative will only have one of that particular kind of character. It's like, we could do this thing, or we could do the other thing. And it's like, if you had more than one character from this demographic, you could do both, and it would lessen the effect, I think.
Yeah, like, it's like, it's like if you have, say, a handful of lesbians in a show as opposed to just two, you can maybe have one of them die tragically, and then it won't particularly piss everyone else off, because you maybe have, 4 or 5 other lesbians.
Which is not to say that lesbians are interchangeable.
No, they're not interchangeable, but it's like
the bigger the amount of the cast is that are of a particular demographic, then, like, laser targeted tropes that target that demographic lose their effect. Like, if your entire cast was lesbians, like, it's an actual show about lesbians, and then like, it's a drama and one of them dies, it's like, characters in dramas die. If all of the characters are lesbians, that's just a character dying. They're not being, like, singled out.
And of course, that doesn't mean that trope isn't then there and that it wasn't bad or anything and stuff like that. But, like, there was this drama a while back called Lip Service, and all of the characters in it were, like, bi and gay women, and it was alright. I enjoyed it. And then at the end of the first season, start of the second season, one of the characters died. That it was sad, but it was more to make a point of, sometimes that happens and it's sad. And I kind of find that more excusable. Like, I think the L Word as well had one of their characters die, and I'm like, yeah, but that just sometimes happens. Death does visit people from the LGBT community. The reason why it's shit most of the time is because...
You say sometimes. I mean, I feel like we're kind of doing ourselves a disservice as members of that community not to point out that, disproportionately so that is the case. It's just kind of a sensitive subject to just sort of bring it up, especially when you're doing bullshit like getting the character killed by a stray bullet meant for somebody else, where that's so clearly contrived as a means of removing that character from the plot. Yeah. And it's like, okay, like, this is so meaningless from a Watsonian perspective that only the Doylist explanation remains, and the Doylist explanation is that as a writer, you're a wanker. Which is not particularly helpful.
But, sometimes gay people die. Not all the time. Say Ian McKellen is, of course, immortal and can never die. Which, that's his business. But, and it's like, and I'm sure that, it's even worse for, characters of colour, because it's not like, at least in the 90s was a bit ridiculous with its, tokenism, right? But at least you always got a black character, an Asian character, an Arabic character.
The 90s kind of felt like... I don't know. I get good vibes from that kind of stuff in the 90s, like largely because it seemed like the 90s was actually trying.
Yeah,
Like the 90s didn't really understand how properly to do this, but it was on board with the idea that it should be done and that there was a reason why it should be done.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like a lot of like the early 2000s stuff was like a pushback against that not being handled well, which I don't think is deserved.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because like tokenism is bad. It's writing POC characters as two-dimensional characters, writing gay characters as two-dimensional characters, lesbian, bisexual characters, like, and women as just like the girl personality or the tomboy personality if there's two of them, and that is bad. But they did try, you know. It's just one of those things.
They were prepared to try. There wasn't really any malice, I don't think, in like,
it was
them
just
doing it.
Ignorance, really.
It was just that they handled it badly because they were kind of new to it and they didn't really know what to do. But they were trying. And,
yeah. And I mean, you get stuff like Gargoyles, which is amazing, because, like Elisa Marza was, like, half Native American, half African American, and that shit would only happen today now. Like, it could have only happened in the 90s and today. Like, there's, like, no in between. You know. But anyway, like, that's what it was like in the 90s. You would have, like, one of every different ethnic group and then, like, a character in a wheelchair. But, like, now it's like you can maybe have, like, one person from one group. It's like, okay, you can have one POC, but, like, you can't represent every ethnicity in one character.
And you shouldn't, because they need to be a character in and of themselves. Like,
yeah.
Like, you can't have a person be, like, a race ambassador or, like, the emblem of all gay people ever or women as a cohesive group, as well as being a character in and of, like, themselves. And to be fair, to try not to get too off topic, that is a thing that I think tends not to happen as much in role-playing, just because for the player trying to do it, it's largely inconvenient.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't come as easily as it does when, like, writing a character. But the DM can do it. Like, the DM absolutely can do it and shouldn't.
Yeah.
Don't do that if you're a DM. Like,
yeah.
I think I've talked a little bit before about, like, the guilt I felt at realizing that, like, the malevolent archvillain in my story was, like, a visibly disabled chronic pain sufferer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't actually like the idea of this character, like, basically just being bitter because of the reason why she is a chronic pain sufferer, enough to, like, cause widespread hurt to people. So, like, slowly I started, like, expanding the plot outwards from her to make a point of, like, I guess she's kind of more a there's a name for this trope, the I forget what it's called, but the misguided pragmatist or something.
Oh yeah.
Which is also a bad trope, but, like, of the two, I think it's probably the preferable one, because it at least lends some dignity to the character.
Yeah.
It's trying to make the best of a bad situation, I think.
Yeah, and it does happen sometimes in your writing, because sometimes you don't realise what you're doing.
Yeah, like, sometimes you fuck up and you're like, well, I gotta maintain continuity, but I also gotta, like, make this not shit.
Yeah, like, shit happens. It happens sometimes. I think the good thing about being a DM is, like, you have a relatively small feedback pool. Like, if you kill off a lesbian in a shitty way, it's maybe just your friend Joan going, hey, look, what you did there, that wasn't cool.
Yeah, it's like, you don't have... I mean, I guess it's kind of different if you're doing something like Critical Role or The White Marshes, where you're actually, like, transmitting the game across to an audience. But I guess kind of that makes your players performers as well, so it also means that, like, the feedback of your players is factored into the performance as a whole, so it's still probably kind of cushioned if they object to something that you do.
Yeah.
Because, like, the product itself is not your campaign, it's the reaction of your players to your campaign.
Yeah. So it's you know. But
yeah, it's I think I would say if you're going to make a novelty character, there has to actually be a novelty about that character. Like, if you're a man who normally plays male characters and you're like, oh, I'm going to play a female character for a laugh, that's kind of weird. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
Like the character, I think, has to have some expansion to her past is female. That's not sufficient, even for a one-shot.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, all the men out there listening, female is not a personality trait.
It's like, no.
I'm just putting that out there. It's not. And that's particularly directed at writers of children's shows. So, it's not a personality trait. It's not. Girl is not a substitute for a personality.
But it's like a novelty character, I think, actually has to have a novelty about them, and there are a whole lot of novelties that you can choose. Like, you can pick something that is otherwise, like, not particularly weird, and just by making it incongruous with its environment, you can make a novelty character. I once played a character who was a ranger, and he was a lumberjack. Like, he was a stereotypical Canadian lumberjack. That was the novelty about his character, but he also had, like, a background and shit. Yeah.
Canadian, by the way, is a personality.
Yes, Canadian is a personality.
But no, it's yeah. I think in regards to characters that aren't novelties or joke one-off characters, I think Jay has many facets to their character. You know, they don't particularly have a set gender identity. But, like, that is just one part of the whole package of a character, I think. Like, it very rarely ever really comes up at all.
I think it's an interesting challenge to the way that other characters talk, like, particularly characters I as the DM control, but beyond that, it's not, like, it's not regarded as a huge deal. I've found it reasonably freeing just to have it never come up, to be it something that everybody either implicitly knows or doesn't care about, and then just, like, go from there.
Yeah.
And the only real time where there's an incongruity there is when they need to use some kind of formal pronoun that they don't have.
Yeah.
Which can be an issue. But beyond that, it's like, there isn't actually any particular reason why any character either, like, would or would need to make a big deal of this, so the story will move faster if they don't.
Yeah. And I will say this to anybody who's playing a character who is not a gender you are, whether you're a man playing a female character or a cis person playing a trans character or whatever, don't be too upset if other players get the pronouns of your character wrong, because this is a thing that happens, and there are players out there who, like, relate your actual gender to your character.
Yeah, that happens frequently. Like, the first couple of times I played a female character, I had to be pretty, like, hard in correcting that.
Yeah.
I'd say also that, like, when you first start a game, the other players will not have a huge idea of, like, what your character is like beyond the way that you're playing them, so they will try and pick up cues from you, so occasionally they will get things wrong based on who you are rather than who your character is. Yeah. That will go away in time, as long as they're not being a dipshit about it.
Yeah, like, you know, and there are people who just will never get it, because that's just the type of player they are, is they're focusing on, like, a million different things, and they're always going to get the gender of their character wrong, because they're actually secretly thinking about you. Which, I made that sound accidentally really creepy, but that they're relating you to the character, not the other way around. Yeah. And, like, you can correct them and they probably won't mind, but they're just going to say, yeah, I get mixed up, I get confused.
I think
it's not the same as actually being misgendered in real life.
I think the way to, like, try and minimize that is to, like, heavily characterize, because if you, like, give the character you're playing a presence in the space on the table, then it becomes a lot easier, I think, after a while for players to differentiate you from the character, even if you're very similar. Yeah. Just because, like, if your character has their own... So, what I'm saying, basically, is with regard to the level of skill in role-playing, get good, scrubs.
Yeah.
And eventually the awkward problems associated with the milieu will sort of go away.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Matt, bless him, always accidentally calls Jay a girl, but it's because he's talking about me, not about Jay.
Yeah, but you say always, but I don't actually think he always does it. I think sometimes he does catch himself, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes he does.
And I think it also depends like what position we're in the conversation. Like if Jay has been correctly gendered a couple of times already in a particular like block of the conversation, he doesn't have any problem with it.
No, yeah, that's true. But it's.
But I think it's correct that like past the initial couple of times when you like none of you are familiar with each other, it is just because he's like relating you to the character.
Yeah, but that just happens.
Yeah,
but,
it just happens.
Remember, you move on from it, and I was like when Zell first came in and misgendered Jay, I made a point.
Well, yeah, I think that's reason because I think like genuinely Maxie didn't know.
No, yeah.
You know, so I don't think it was relevant until then. But where are we going with this?
I've no fucking clue. But the point is that sometimes people get muddled, don't get too upset
like
because
you have the opportunity.
They're thinking about you, not the character.
Yeah, you have the opportunity. I think when you're role playing, especially because the people you're creating will exist under different environmental conditions than they would in real life, to sort of sandbox a lot of different things with regard to how that character is treated and how they are able to live their life. But also, you are still beholden to the effect of the media you are creating on the real world, the same as any other piece of art, even though that effect is probably going to be very limited in terms of, like, basically it being the players at your table and maybe the audience listening to your game, if you like.
Yeah.
So I think actually role-playing is probably like a really good environment for people to sort of make mistakes, almost. The kind of mistakes that you should probably have made, understood as mistakes, and resolved not to do again before you get a science fiction show on the CW.
If only Jason Rothenberg had played Dungeons and Dragons.
We don't know for sure that Jason Rothenberg did not play Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, he writes a post-apocalyptic, like, nerdy shit genre show,
so
of
course.
He probably did fucking play Dungeons and Dragons. He probably is a massive fucking nerd.
Well, he evidently didn't play, like, Dungeons and Dragons with the right people.
No, evidently. If he played it with those dead lesbians would be alive today.
I don't want Jason Rothenberg to play Dungeons and Dragons with us, Beth. I don't think that would be productive even at this point.
It would be awkward, wouldn't it?
It would be weird.
Yeah.
It would be like, here are all of my friends. This is Beth, who I have known for a long time, and this is Becca, who I've known for a long time, and this is Matt, who I have known of for a long time and get on with reasonably well, and like we talk about Magic the Gathering, whatever. This is Maxie I've known for a long time, and this is Jason Rothenberg. He writes a show for the CW, and it had dead lesbians in it. We don't know why he's here.
and he's just like, I just want to play.
It's like, okay, Jason, why don't you make a character and send me your God, this is weird.
Oh yeah, and he like makes a drow.
I'm not going to be like...
He makes like a drow character and you get like really angry at him and you tell him that like there aren't drow and he's like, no, but see, this is how you can rationalise that drow exists in your world. And you're like, oh my god, Jason Rothenberg.
I would tell him beforehand that drow... I would not be that cruel to Jason
No,
Rothenberg.
like you did tell him. He just said, well, you see, my drow are better than that. And you're like, Jason.
I'd be like, Jason, this is not... No, stop doing this.
Yeah, and then like... One day, like, Jay and Marion are just, like, chilling out, talking about their feelings, and then, like, Jason's character just, like, chops off Jay's head, and everyone's like, what the fuck, Jason? And he's like, dead lesbians, you gotta. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, Jason, you're the fucking worst. You're not allowed to put... And he's the third person you ban from playing games with.
Yeah.
He's the third person.
We didn't bring that up before, did we? That I have only ever banned 2 people from my table.
Yeah. And then they form, like... a supervillain team.
That would be really fucking weird because I'm pretty sure that the existing 2 are like not even aware of each other's existence. So
they all like get together.
Them finding out about each other and also about like CW showrunner Jason Rothenberg would be very strange.
And then, but no, it's like Scott Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like, they all, like, find out about each other, and, like, you have to defeat them in, like, a comically cartoon manner.
You know, I'm really, really glad that I remembered to take my meds today, because I have really fucked up dreams if I don't, and I just know that if I didn't take them today, then I would then have really fucked up dreams about having to fight, like, a conglomerate of all the people I've ever banned from D&D and CW showrunner Jason Rothenberg. And it would be your fault.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. So for once, Alex is going to fight someone.
I'm not going to fight
me.
anyone. I'm especially not going to fight Jason Rothenberg, because I don't have a horse in that race. Aside from the horse of don't do shitty tropes about killing lesbians, especially not with lazy shit like stray bullets. Don't do that.
I wouldn't fight CW showrunner Jason Rothenberg, because, like, he apologized. He realized he was in the wrong. He realized what he did was shitty, and, you know, maybe Lexa will be a cyborg now. Who knows?
Maybe.
I'd fucking love that if it came back for, like, season 4, and it was like, we're really sorry about killing off those lesbians, so here's Robo-Lesbian. Yeah. I think we've reached the end of this podcast. Have we? Is there anything else we should mention?
What was the point of the... Why are we recording this, Beth? What have we learned?
What we have learned is that, like, you are somewhat responsible for the shit you put out there.
Yeah. But when you're role-playing, because of the limited audience and the capacity for you to make mistakes in a social context, it's pretty good for sandboxing the fuck-ups you would otherwise do when it comes to writing characters who are not like you. So I guess what we're actually saying is do that.
Yeah.
Like, play some characters who are not like you. You don't have to go, like, completely unlike you to begin with. Like, maybe just change something drastic. Like, okay, I always play male characters. There's no particular reason why I shouldn't play a female character. Like, one-shots are really good for this.
Yeah.
Do it. Maybe you've never played a disabled person before. You could do that. It probably, like, that one I think is kind of different because it depends on how you and the DM are going to work it out mechanically. Like, maybe you pay attention to it, maybe you don't.
Yeah, like, it's, like, Matt plays a blind character in Two Earth.
Yeah.
The Two Earth campaign. And it's something that, yes, we do pay quite a lot of attention to. And maybe make slightly...
I don't know, it's
like...
just like it's the kind of thing where it's actually, I feel like it's initially played for laughs, but then, like, the way that it being played for laughs is mitigated within the group is eventually going to make it, like, not funny and just a sort of normal thing. Because, like, right now, the joke is Azrael accommodates, like Azrael provides accommodations for Harrow. Like, you know, this way, Harrow, like, this is the direction we need to be going. Or, like, describing, physical social signifiers that people make in conversations for Harrow's benefit. And right now, that's funny because the whole point is that Harrow's, like, blindness is contextually ridiculous because it's been, like, on set for, like, 4 years and he still hasn't learned properly to, like, navigate while blind. But I think sooner or later it'll become not funny and it'll just be like Azrael is just accommodating Harrow as a disabled person in the way that a real person would. Yeah,
and that's true, you know, and that's just and, like, it was initially a bit like, well, I mean, obviously you can't have very good perception because you can't see, so you perceive things in other ways, which aren't always that great. So, like, if Harrow specifies that he's, like, listening for something, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
whatever,
I think, like, a lot of the way that Matt plays Harrow is basically in describing how Harrow does something that other characters might take for granted. Which I suppose is kind of the point in some ways when you're playing a disabled character. But, you know.
But as well as it changes as a DM because, like, it's like when you're describing perhaps beautiful scenery, you also have to kind of describe how it sounds, how it smells, how it feels.
Yeah, it makes
which is
you as
really interesting.
Which I suppose comes around to another thing, which is that if you can think about the kind of different perspective that a character that you play might have, it can make your DM flesh out the scenario itself more, which is only good for everyone at the table.
Yeah, so like whenever now I create a new room, I remember I created this one room with a kind of sort of eldritch horror tree. It makes sense in context.
It does. I can attest that it makes sense in context. Well, it doesn't, but the fact that it doesn't make sense is the sense that it makes.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
And initially it was just going to be very unnerving to look at, but I was like, that isn't going to work for everyone. Mm. So immediately I went, well, then it absolutely stinks of, like, rotten fruit. And it's soft to the touch. That's creepy, right? Yeah, that's really freaky, you know. So yeah, and, you know, describing the Feywild, it smells like this, sounds like that, you know, it's normal and...
Like, things that should probably anyway be in the description, like, get brought up, because for some characters that is their only way of relating. And I think when you have only able-bodied characters, that doesn't tend to come up too much. Like, very occasionally, I would say the environment where it does come up is when you have a party composed of some humans and halflings and some other demi-humans entering somewhere with low light levels. Because then you have the discrepancy between the characters who have dark vision and the characters who don't. Mm. But apart from that, it's like...
Or if something's hidden but stinks as well. Like, if you're looking for a dead body, obviously you have to describe the smell in the room and how strong it is.
Yeah,
so.
But then, like, all characters can sense
well,
that.
Yeah,
I think, like, that can be really interesting to do. Definitely.
Yeah.
We are getting a bit onto time. I would say also, try and think about the heritage of characters and, like, how that affects them. Obviously, in a fictional universe, that's probably going to be different, and it will be mostly the DM's job to make sure that the way that character relates to that heritage is not just metatextually super racist. But, like, whatever you get, like, try and think about how that character, like, what that character's upbringing would mean. Like, how they might culturally relate to things. Because I think, at least, that if that's a skill you have to practice at when you're role-playing, it's probably... like a way for you to build empathy in real life, which is a life skill as well as a fundamental means by which humans relate socially. And not only will it be beneficial to you to practice at doing it, it will also make you feel good eventually. I can attest to this.
Not to sound cheesy, but it's good to certainly walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you know.
Or at the very least, to develop the capacity to walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
Yeah, you know, to kind of...
When you can envision it as something you could potentially do, then you will be a fundamentally better person than you were previously.
Yeah.
Which is good. And if the way that you do that is through tabletop games, like, that's fine. That's the environment that you have to foster that kind of skill. I mean, it can only be good for you to use a hobby that is traditionally slighted for being the domain of those with no social skills to build social skills. And by the way, actually, I know that, like, this is kind of preaching to the choir with regard to the, like, audience of this podcast, but I really feel that, like, the jokes about tabletop role-playing games being, like, the nerdiest thing that you can do have not moved with the times. Like, back in the 80s, maybe there was, like, some amount of basis for that because it was, like, maybe the had the most complexity of the nerdy things that you could do. But now when you're like, well, what's the nerdiest activity you can think of? I'm not going to be like, oh, definitely the one that involves me leaving my house and interacting with a small group of other human beings socially for an extended period of time. Yeah. It's like, no, there are significantly more isolationist and socially inept things that I could be doing with my time than that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like tabletop role-playing game is like talking to your friends for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like...
And you engage in a collaborative project where you all have to contribute to an extent. It's good. And do it, and it's a very good place to sandbox this kind of thing and to build the kinds of skills that you probably should have already, but if you don't, well, still better start building them, and this is a good place to do it.
So, this was House of Bards?
Ostensibly.
This was House of Bards. I was Beth, and
I was Alex.
that was Alex.
I am Alex right now, and I feel I will probably continue to be Alex in the future after we have finished recording.
So if you make anything for us, you want to ask us any questions for our FAQ episode.
Yeah, we are still like we have got questions. If you sent us a question, I mean, I can't guarantee that we've received it, because if you sent us one and we didn't receive it, how would we know? But we have, at least I have received some questions. I don't know if you've received some.
I've received a couple, but like...
It might be that they sent the same question to both of us, in which case we probably have fewer questions than we actually
but I don't
need.
think I've been sent any specifically, but I know some people are commenting on videos, which is really good, because that's an easy way for us both to see it and both to know the questions.
Yep.
But yeah, so FAQ things below. Suggestions for topics you want to hear is always really good.
Mm-hmm. We will at some point get round to more class studies, because that is still a series, but we don't. They're basically our shit. We don't have a topic. So as long as we have more interesting things to talk about, we will continue talking about those, I think. Yeah,
like I kind of feel like maybe. I feel like one of them's probably coming up soon.
Yeah, I think we've left it a bit. Speaking of, actually, if there's a class study you want to see, then
we've already done the Bard.
We have done the Bard because it's the most obvious one for this podcast. But if there's one that you want to see, like, let us know, because obviously we do that. We were kind of, I think it says in the Google Doc that we were planning on doing the monk, just because neither of us know a lot about monks.
Yeah.
Which
us to know shit about monks,
yeah, it's like maybe that's not a good one to start with. That
I think like the fighter would be a good fighter, or rogue, or wizard, because they're basics.
Yeah, or clerics.
Yes, because we've got a cleric. So yeah, but yeah, and when we say it, send us any questions as well. We kind of mean like, even if it's stuff about our world building, writing in general, who we are as people, as long as it's not too personal. I would assume anyway. I don't know how Alex feels about giving away personal information over the internet, but I'm not keen on it. But yeah, and then if you make anything for us as well, if you've made fan art of something, or
put your
whatever.
shitty photoshops inside our eyes. It has been too long. Yes.
And I think that's us. So bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. See you next time.
Yeah. Shit, I have to edit this. Bye.
Bye. Nerdiest thing you can... I'm actually trying to think of the nerdiest thing you can do. Playing hentai games on your own.
Christ.
With one of those, not even like with your hand, with like one of those specialized sex toys that like plugs into your computer and vibrates. That's the nerdiest thing you can do on your own, is masturbate to hentai games with a specialized sex toy. That's really nerdy. We can't put that in the fucking podcast, but that is the nerdiest thing you can do.
No, I've got one better. Because, like, that is an activity in and of itself that could have a particular context that renders it slightly less nerdy. Instead, what you should be doing is blogging, and in defense of that particular activity. And blogging specifically because that's a single point of contact with you to a faceless entity rather than between human beings.
Yes. Also, actually, you know what else is really, really, really nerdy?
What?
Having an anime waifu and a smug anime girl in your avatar. We can't put... I do not put that in the podcast. I will get hunted. But no, yeah. Having a smug anime girl as your YouTube profile picture, that's definitely the nerdiest thing you can do, and you're a fucking loser.
Either a smug anime girl, or, like, a girl from a hentai who is making a weird face that is probably a sex face, but might also just be a weird face that a girl in a hentai made.
Yeah.
Like, that is also... Don't do that.